Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Daily till 4, Saturdays till 2. In the same blooming place since 1952.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
This is going to be fun. 5 minutes, just about 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Nice looking Wednesday morning. Can you believe it? It's the 15th day of November. And tomorrow begins the one-man show you've been hearing so much about. It's an evening with Mark Twain featuring Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards is in the studio right now. I think the title is Man is the Only Animal Who Blushes or Needs to. And good morning. Nice to meet you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Glad to be
here. Coming in. This sounds like fun. Are you doing this all over the country? Is this a touring show?
I don't. Mary asked me to bring. I did it here 17 years ago.
You did?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's something that I've had sort of in my back pocket since I was a sophomore in high school when I went to
Is that right? Wow.
a state drama competition. I came in second. In the state, I was beat up.
What happened to the first place person?
A young girl doing all the characters in My Fair Lady.
Oh, okay.
And I said, we were told we couldn't do more than one character. But anyway, so it's just been there, and I did it for civic clubs, and it was a college cash money for going through college and so forth. And then a few years ago, I did a couple of tours with a boat ragtime review with the jazz band and a singer and a tap dancer, and I did it for Flat Rock, and I just sort of pulled it out and so forth.
You're just all over the place. You have so many credentials to your name. I wasn't fair in the intro. I should have said some of those things. You worked with Nickelodeon a while, didn't you?
I did a couple of shows at Nickelodeon with Clarissa Explains It All, and what was the other one?
Was that fun?
You had Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel. That was I was in the first episode of Keenan and Kel when it first came on the air.
Wow, that is cool. And do you live in Florida?
I live in Orlando.
Oh, yeah. Wow. And is that because Nickelodeon was there at that time?
Well, it was. One of the things that attracted me to Orlando was the fact that there was Disney, there was Nickelodeon, there was a good, strong dinner theater, and I've done a lot of on-stage performance, and I was offered multiple works, and I worked at Universal for a couple of years, and I worked at SeaWorld for a while, and it was just, I love the weather. I hate cold weather.
Did you move here from a cold state?
I came out, I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Years ago. But I had spent the last 20 years in Nashville, and then I had been in St. Louis for a year, and I'd been in Chicago for a year, and I went to college and spent some time on the West Coast.
See, the one thing I try to pride myself on is picking out an accent. I don't hear one with you. And yet now you've told me where you're from, but I still don't hear that.
Well, when I was very young, I worked very hard on trying to get rid of the Southern East Tennessee accent. Yeah.
There's no discernible accent. I suppose if I was from England, I would say, well, you must be from America, but I wouldn't know where in America.
Oh, yeah. Good. That's good. I'm continental.
What about Mark Twain? Does Mark Twain have an accent?
He has a bit of one because he is from Missouri. And he never worked on trying to get rid of it, so he is a little twangy. Twainy's twangy. How's that?
Are you a Mark Twain fan? How did it come to be that you played Mark Twain?
I found it. Some interesting material, and I need this for the competition. So I put it together, and the material grew, and all of a sudden I've got 15 books on Twain, and people give me Twain.
Oh, really?
And expand it. And of course, years ago, I got a chance to see the master, Hal Holbrook, in the 60s do it, and he has memorized like 7 hours of material on Twain that he can literally go off and do anything and everywhere. Wow. I'm not that good.
You're better looking than Mark Twain, though.
Huh?
You are better looking than Mark Twain.
Well, I hope so. That's nice. I don't have as much hair. I don't have as much hair as he did, but we take care of that backstage.
So can we interview Mark Twain a little bit? Can we do that for a moment here?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a man whose great learning and veneration for truth is only exceeded by his high moral character and majestic presence. I refer in these vague general terms to myself.
So what was your life like, Mark Twain? Why'd you pick the name Mark Twain?
Mark Twain is a riverboat term.
Oh, okay.
It means safe water, and he literally picked it because he heard it, and they were the river. And I talk about it in the show. The rivermen's call at night when they're judging the depth of the water is Twain, half Twain, safe Twain, Mark Twain. And that was the riverman's call for
what
safe
does Shania
water.
Twain mean?
Money.
So tell me, I mean, so you are basically, you could be a professor of Mark Twain. Am I right about that?
I wouldn't call myself that. I know a few things here and there about him, but mostly my research has been in the material that I can do on stage.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know.
And what was the relationship? Is this an unfair question? What was the lady's name from the Christ Church? What was that? Church of Science. What was that? Mary Eddy. Oh God.
Mary Baker Eddy.
Yeah. Was
Christian Scientist.
Because wasn't there a movie like Mark Twain and Mary Baker Eddy or something?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know that he had any great affiliation to any religion. He was.
But I thought they had a relationship, or am I wrong about that? Maybe they didn't like each other.
Now I have to go back and look.
maybe I had it wrong. Maybe I had that wrong. So you're doing this for how many days?
Five performances in 4 days. We open tomorrow night, Thursday, Friday, 2 shows Saturday, a matinee and evening, and then we close with a matinee on Sunday.
And you have a singing quartet, Robin told me.
We have put together. I like to be able to incur the period, the feel of the period. So I have a quartet of local musicians and singers who they're wonderful, who are singing songs of the area, turn of the century. They open each act before Mr. Twain comes on to make his remarks and observations.
So he's known as the father of American literature.
He's been called that.
Isn't that kind of late? Didn't we get started with literature late? I mean, if he's the father, what happened before him?
Well, look at the people who have come after him, who have made American commentary their trade. Faulkner, Tennessee Williams on stage. They've all dealt with Americana.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yes.
He was the one that sort of started writing about America. There are some others who were doing it, but they haven't quite made the impact that he did. Of course, his Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer are considered worldwide classics of Americana.
Yes.
And they've gotten all the controversy to go along with it.
And that's really amazing to me because that's history. That's all history.
It is history.
I don't like when people try to change it.
Yep. Yeah. But he also wrote Life on the Mississippi and A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court,
which is good. A lot of remakes have been done. A lot of angles off to other things. So he was a writer. He was a writer. Later in life, when he became well known, is when he became a speaker, a lecturer, a commentator, because he was witty. And so as he says in the show, he became the darling of the lecture circuit. You know, and they were booking him. And the fact that he made and lost several fortunes because of bad investments, because he had friends that he trusted and believed in, and they said, if you'll give me this money, we can do this, we can make this, and it didn't work out. And so he was forced to go on the road. He actually had a very serious private life because he had 3 daughters. Only one outlived him.
Oh no!
Yeah, he lost his wife and 2 daughters, and Clara was the only one who outlived him. And he wrote a book and gave to her before he died, and said, "This is not to be published until 100 years after my death."
Oh, and that's the one we heard about just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And
he became very bitter at the very end because of what had happened to him, and so he wanted it known, but he didn't want it known while he was alive.
Explain what happened to him.
because of his bad investments, because of his disappointment in friends, because of losing his wife and 2 daughters,
Yeah, sure.
he became embittered. And so one of his books, commentary in the book is The Damned Human Race. So he became embittered. I don't do that material. That's part of him.
I was wondering about that. I was wondering if there was anything that you choose to not be when you're on stage.
Most of my material is taken from his autobiography, Huckleberry Finn, a great book I found years ago called The Collected Speeches of Mark Twain.
Right.
His public life, when he's talking to people and making comment about society and so forth.
And he made political commentary.
And he did make a few political comments. And
do your audiences hear that part of your presentation?
Just a little.
But I mean, do they say, "Oh my gosh, that's applicable today," or do they not see?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
If it's just there and laid out, I hope they understand that that's how it was at that time.
Yeah. You start tomorrow at 8 p.m. is your first show. How do you prepare for the role? Not just tomorrow, but I mean in general.
I was joking with somebody the other day. I've done this for so long that it used to take me 2.5 hours to do the makeup. That now takes me about 45 minutes.
Oh, so the physical part of what we see, it takes 45 minutes. What about the inner part?
Well, the inner part is happening a lot of the times as I'm trying to correct the face and the hair and the mustache.
you become him.
And I sort of
my
become
gosh.
Mr. Twain at that point. But it was interesting that I am now the same age as Twain was when he was lecturing.
Oh my God!
Well, and I was going to ask you about your younger days doing this. Is it easier now because of the age?
Yes. Yeah, because there was a long preparation and a whole physicality because I had to become older. Now I just stand up.
And your voice must be more like his voice would have been.
It is.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to work as hard at transitioning to the Twain.
Do you smoke a cigar?
I do.
On
Good
the
question.
stage?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, excellent.
And I hate them. I hate them.
Oh, you do?
But he was so identified with the cigar that I have a section about why I smoke. And so yes, I do smoke a cigar on stage.
And did he raise? did he or his family raise tobacco?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not that I know of. He was very urban. He once he left Missouri area and traveled all over the world. He sort of settled in the Northeast in Connecticut and up there. His home, Stormfield, was in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Does the audience smell the cigar?
I don't think they do, but because I'm smoking one, some of them say. Because
I would love it.
I'm so far away.
I'm a cigar fan. I love cigars.
Yeah.
I don't smoke them anymore, but I love them.
You can tell me where I can buy some.
No, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I used to buy the cheapest. Sometimes
there's a cigar store across the street.
Oh, they do have one
Yeah.
across the street. Yes,
Yeah,
there's
the
a
Native
wooden
American
Indian outside of it.
outside the door.
all right.
I have no idea if they're
Where the
good or not.
subway is.
Well,
right
that's what
next
he
door.
said. I always smoked cheap cigars.
Well, that was always the best. George Burns said the same thing.
Yeah.
And I found the same thing to be true. You pay $5 for a cigar, and it's really not as good as that little Swisher Sweet.
Yeah, I need one a little bigger than a Swisher Sweet. I usually get Antonio Cleopatra is the right size for Twain.
Oh, okay.
Do you need any props? I have 2 cigars on my desk right now.
I'll take them.
You want them?
Sure.
All right. You get my cigars.
Nice.
Jim George gave them to me. Jim, I'm sorry. I told Jim I was going to smoke them when I had it in a
They'll
case.
be an honor.
I have quit
Yeah.
smoking cigars, but I reserve the right to have one every now and then.
Of course you do.
If I'm celebrating, so I'll get 2 others. So those are yours.
Did Mark Twain have a family? Was he married? Did
Oh
he have
yes,
any
oh yes.
children?
A very devoted family man. I was telling him.
You missed when you walked out of the room.
I had
You had to.
There was-
It's a sad story.
He was married to Livy, and he had 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Only one outlived him.
Oh,
He lost 2 of his daughters. One to I think it was diphtheria. While he and Lavinia were abroad, and then Susie, who was the sweetheart of his life, when she passed away, he thought his life was over. And it was only through people getting him out and starting to lecture that he was able to go on. Clara survived him. And she was the only one, and she kept the estate going and fulfilled his wishes that he gave to her. And she just died only a few years ago. Clara Clemens Samisold. Her married name was Samisold.
He must have been an inspiration to a lot of the famous names that came up through history, like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, people like that. They must have drawn on Mark Twain's accomplishments and the way he presented himself as a speaker and a statesman.
I think so too, and also he was friends with those people. That was in his era, 1835 to 1910. He died in 1910, so he was just slightly ahead of them. But he was friends with, like, Ulysses S. Grant. He was very close to Grant, and as a matter of fact, he's responsible for publishing Grant's autobiography.
How fascinating is that?
After the Civil War. And because Grant was very ill and very broken, very poor, and Twain's friendship with him helped encourage him to write and to publish his autobiography.
Do you know, the one thing about his era is that we didn't have anything except for books for entertainment. Exactly. Well, we had plays, I guess.
And we had and lectures. That's what people used to gather around. An entire city would come and just hear someone talking. And that's
what they do now, but they turn on the radio to do it.
That's right. And it was a big event in the town to see, Mark Twain is coming, and they would gather and talk.
This is a real treat to have you in the studio. I so much appreciate this. I wanted to let a couple of callers through, if you're okay with taking calls.
Okay, all right.
In the studio, this is such an honor. We have Michael Edwards in here. He is an award-winning actor, a director. He's the recipient of the Alumni Association Gilmore Brown Award for Lifetime Achievement in Theater. He appeared in TV shows and films that include I'll Fly Away, Superboy. You were in Superboy?
Yeah.
Swamp Thing,
awesome.
Point Man, Clarissa Explains It All, and Keenan and Cal, In the Heat of the Night. And you are starring here in Ocala tomorrow through the 19th, right?
Through Sunday, yeah.
Through Sunday. And A Man is the Only Animal Who Blushes or Needs to, which is the title of An Evening with Mark Twain. All right, let's take a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for waiting and for calling. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Some years ago, probably the 1940s, a black and white movie of Mark Twain's life was made with Frederick March in the lead role. It's reasonably good, given what Hollywood does to these things. So if you ever have time to pull it up on Netflix, I would advise doing it.
All right, thank you.
And I'll ring off.
Have you watched this?
I've seen it, yes.
You have seen it?
Yes,
Okay, yeah. Well, is it an interest of you first? It sounds like you were interested in Mark Twain before you started playing him, though. Am I right about that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I loved reading Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, and then I went right to Life on the Mississippi, and Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court was like, what? This is not America. This is, found it different. And then I began watching all the movies that were made, and the Frederick March movie is quite good, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. And now, when you are around your family and your peers and everything, are you having them generate a greater interest in history, in historical figures because of what you do?
Most of them don't care.
Oh.
I'm just an itinerant actor who's out trying to make a living. But no, it's because I do it and because they know me. It's sort of that secondhand information. Oh, he does that Mark Twain thing.
Oh,
and he goes. So it's not it's not like, oh, he does Mark Twain, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just there.
But it's very special to have a person like you.
It is special to me because he is, and I end the evening because of his gentle. His sympathetic and his sentimental side at the end of the evening.
Is that you? I mean, are you? Is it similar to you?
Oh yeah. And as old as I am at this point, I've got the right to be sentimental.
Children? Do you have children?
No.
No. Okay. So your children are Mark Twain's children.
That's right. That's right. And the young actors I've helped train.
Mm-hmm. But when you travel around to do this, you must be welcomed in a lot of different communities.
I hope so.
for this. This is an amazing
What-
thing that you're doing.
What do you like better, the stage or the filming?
Oh, stage.
Oh, and why is that?
Stage offers gratification. Film and television is more of a director's and an editor's medium because you do it 14,
Yeah.
15 times,
I
and
can
then
see
the
that,
editor
yeah.
says, I want to like this one best, and then you don't no, but I like that one. I don't care. Stage, the energy between an actor and an audience back and forth is immediate.
Yeah.
Is immediate.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you feel...
Do you want to meet the best audience member ever? May I introduce Robin?
I hope to see you this weekend.
First of all, let me tell you something. Robin goes to everything at the Civic Theater.
Oh, good.
I mean everything. And then if I ever go with her, which is now 5 or 6 times,
Yes.
I started going because I wasn't really going. I'm sorry, Larry, out there with the pretty shirt. But I haven't really gone a whole lot. But Robin has, and so she'll come back and she'll talk. I said, you know what? I'd like to see that one. So she ends up seeing some of them twice. Once with her mother, and then once when I bug her. You want to go? All right.
You're starting a tradition.
But I've never
Exactly.
gone to a show that did not have a standing ovation. And you know who always starts the standing ovation?
Well, we have to.
We have to
You know
hear
why?
that.
Because she appreciates what happens up on that stage.
And there's nothing
And they
better.
really do deserve a standing
There's
ovation.
nothing better than a deserving, an appreciative audience. Because when they take the journey with you, like this show is like an hour and a half, including intermission. It's not a long show. It's with, and a lot of it's talking, so you have to listen. And I do a couple of other characters, Mark Twain doing someone else, or Mark Twain doing
Oh,
someone
really?
How
yeah,
nice.
in the show, which is kind of fun, one in each act. And when they take that journey with you, or take that suspension of disbelief with you, it's great fun to let them go. Okay, I'll go there with you. Take that step, and it makes it all exciting and fun.
And that's what's wonderful for the young people these days, because they can get out and they can really express themselves by jumping into different characters
There you go.
and different venues.
I hope we get some young people coming. Mark Twain's humor is not generally, right now, thought of as a young person's humor. They not even required to read Huckleberry Finn anymore.
Oh, that's right. That's
because
right.
of
Yeah.
because of the controversy, it's too bad, because he's touching, he's funny, he's wise. There's a lot of wisdom in what he puts into Huckleberry Finn. As a matter of fact, one of the characters I do is Twain doing Huck Finn,
Oh, nice.
and it's amazing how he gets into the mind of the young person, and they're not.
Do you know what is interesting about what you're saying is that in the world of the arts, if there was a painting created in an era where things politically were different, we don't say, let's burn that painting. If there was if there happened to be a photograph, I guess, if it goes that far back. But when it's literature, like this, the national anthem, for example, or some of Mark Twain's writings, we say, oh my gosh, okay, there's something politically incorrect there, but yet it's a snapshot in words of an era.
Absolutely.
And that's why I don't see why we should be looking at it any differently than we do a painting.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't censor words that were written in a bygone era because they expressed the time. And even I've had to in the show.
Meaning what? You have to what?
I had to
Sir?
edit out a word,
Oh,
The N-word?
the N-word.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. I can't say
Well,
it because
That's
you would,
fair, though.
You would literally feel the audience go.
Yes, right. No, that makes sense, yeah.
So, but at that time, he was using that word deliberately.
Yes.
To express generally a bad person's opinion, but I've had to edit that out.
and do you feel you yourself that you would like to write?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'm an interpreter. No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Number one, I probably couldn't read my own handwriting. What was that? Who wrote that?
Because you have so many cool experiences, it will be so nice to write everything down.
Oh, but any actor who has traveled and goes around and works and does interviews and so forth has wonderful experiences. I'm not special. I'm just another one of those itinerant actors who's trying to make a living. And I've been very fortunate to be able to make a living. So I'm very grateful to my audiences for that.
But you bring something special to the audience.
It's my heart.
I can say that.
It's my heart. That's what I do.
I think you are special, and I think we all are. So I guess if we all are, then none of us are. I guess it's that kind of a thing. But you are. You made it special this morning here. What you're doing at the theater is special. We as Ocalans are going to just love what you're doing. It's a little disappointing it's so short. Is it disappointing for you that it's short, or do you like a little short gig, 3 days?
A little 3 or 4 days is fun because you get the people who really want to see it come in. Then you don't have to go out and beat the bushes to try to drag somebody in.
Are we giving tickets away to this, Robert, after
yes,
this?
we are.
Okay. So
Yes,
we've
we
got
are.
some. So if you stay tuned, we have a game coming up.
pair
We'll
of
be giving
tickets.
away tickets. Michael Edwards, what an honor. Thank you so much for being
My
here
pleasure.
today.
It was, both of you.
That was
Very
fun.
much so.
And just keep doing what you're doing. And if you're ever in the area, come back in.
As long as I can, and I will.
We will be, and I'm going to get you the cigars. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. Neighbors say he'd been shooting off guns day and night, and the mother of a man who shot 14 people, killing 4 in Northern California, says he'd called her the day before to say it's all over now. Kevin Neal was shot and killed by police.
He was out on bail after being arrested in January for stabbing a female neighbor. He started with killing that woman and another man, stole their car, then drove around town firing at random, leaving 2 others dead and 10 injured, including 2 children, one of whom was inside the local elementary school.
Fox's Claudia Cowan. There's been a military takeover in the African nation of Zimbabwe.
There are armored personnel carriers and troops on the streets. The army has taken over the TV station, and President Robert Mugabe is under house arrest. But still, the army are saying it's not a coup. Analysts say this coup denial is to try and avoid international sanctions.
Fox's Paul Tilsley. Fox News. We report, you decide.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Life doesn't stop for car trouble, work, school, dentist appointments, the workout you wouldn't mind skipping. Our cars connect us to our lives, so wouldn't it be reassuring